Welcome back to Foundry Talks. I'm Rachel Stoyanovsky, and today I'm so excited to be joined by Edward May, who is the CEO of Hidden and Found. So, Edward, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Rachel, and good to be here.
So, if you want to just give us a little bit of background about Hidden and Found and your role with the company, and then we will jump right into it.
Sure. So Hidden and Found was something that was a little seed that I planted in my head about 23 years ago when I was working in America. And I was in these independent hotels, and people would come to me and say, "We wish we could take you as in the staff out to our house by the lakes or to the Caribbean and things like that." And it started going around in my head, what if you could take hotel services and put them in private homes? People think the word hidden and found probably means it's hidden homes and that we've found, but it's much more personal than that. I think when you work in hotels, you're working within rules and constraints of that brand, and it's quite you constrict it a little bit by time. Whereas hidden is what we want people to discover when they get to a private home. They've got that time. They've got time with the staff. They've got time with their family or friends, and they rediscover themselves. So Hidden and Found was never an out-and-out company that was going to just sell trips to homes. It was me watching people, how they reacted to service in the hotel. I was training, so a lot of my time I was just following like the maitre d' or sommelier or the hotel owner. Before Hidden and Found was created, I was in these hotels in America, and then ran chalets in places like Courchevel in France. Was knocking doors in 2008 on homes in the Cotswolds in England, saying, can I have a look in your house? I think it would make a great hotel for the weekend or hotel. And these people are saying, like, there's a hotel down the road, like, why would they want to stay here type response. So I was getting knocked back quite a bit, but I had this idea that there's something these guests were telling me in the hotels like 5 years ago, that they wanted to have staff in their house, or could we not take this brand and put it into our house just for the weekend whilst we had our friends over and things. So I kept knocking, and before we got our first kind of contract, the owners would ring and say, look, we're not interested in your idea, but our daughter's getting married, or it's going to be my wife's 40th or 60th and things like that, and can you look after us? And I was like, well, this is a great opportunity to get in the foot in the door, show them kind of my idea by not forcing it on them. And that's how we kind of got started in getting our foot in the door. It helps that our first house was a private estate. It was a large stately home. And once we had that, then it kind of snowballed. We could go to other houses and say, look, this is our model. We've got a Duke and Duchess on our as one of our clients. It was the only one, but that's what we kind of embellished that. But we're basically a hotel, we're a hospitality group without actually owning or leasing any properties. We basically use beautiful homes of owners, and we they either plug us in or we plug ourselves in to service guest needs. And we've slowly grown kind of throughout Europe. And so think of us as a hotel, but kind of various places around Europe that we operate from.
That's amazing. And how many properties are you up to now at this point?
We probably work like anywhere between 15 or 20 properties a year, like regularly.
Yeah.
Then there'll probably be a small selection of 5 that are new ones.
Yeah.
A good thing to note is we don't. There's 2 sides to what we do. A customer would come to us direct, or an agent or partners. It's their client, come to us and say, we need the home, and they want all the full services. So no problem at all. Or an owner might call us and say, I've got a client, I'm needing the staff. And that's one way how we've been able to find a lot of homes, is by people just wanting the service part for
For
their
their
own
own
holiday,
use.
or
Yeah.
so, or exactly for their daughters. Well, so nothing's really changed. So we've worked in over 600 homes, and but I've actually been in 1,500-ish would be
Yeah.
a good,
Yeah.
and then a big number of independent hotels. So you kind of get to know what works and what doesn't. But we're not a what we do. We can't. We're not a. You can't be doing this every day all over the world. It just
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So after 25 years, in the hospitality industry and some of the world's finest properties, what has that career taught you about what truly great hospitality looks like? And I have a feeling you have a pretty good understanding of that because that's what people keep coming to you to provide.
Yeah, it's bloody hard work. Internally, you've got to care. You've got to
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
If you don't, you can't go into. I was talking to a client 2 3 days ago. Her son's now on super yachts, and she was saying how much he cares what he does, and I was like keep amazing.
Yeah.
Some people want to get into it for the wrong reasons. It's glamorous. I want to work into with this hotel brand or that private property or that restaurant because it's Michelin star. But if you go in with it without the care and wanting to make people happy,
Yeah.
it's hard work. So the finest properties, the best hotel owners I worked under, the best chefs, not necessarily Michelin star chefs. It's the people that have a bit of character and really care and understand what the guest wants. And for us, kind of what makes the best house is it comes from the owner. So again,
Yeah.
it's does the owner care,
Yeah.
and that's relevant whether it's a private home or an independent boutique hotel.
Yeah.
Everything trickles down from the owner. So for us, hospitality it's about people, isn't it? So giving them time, whoever you're serving, giving them time, really showing. Like people talk about authenticity as an experience, but authenticity for it comes from the people that you're with. Have they really shown that when you go out to a restaurant with your loved one partner? It might be a great meal, but if that waiter or waitress is rushed off her feet and not been able to give you the time, it kind of dilutes it a little bit. So great hospitality comes from the establishments where there's the care and there's the time. That's my personal opinion on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what can be tricky about this industry is finding the team that genuinely cares. But I love that you talked about how that really comes down from the top, whether it is a property owner or the hotel GM or the executive chef, because I think it's their responsibility to show that they really care. And it makes it so much easier for their team to then show up and care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And the best properties for us, um, we're here in the French Alps, so there's beautiful chalets all over the place.
Yeah.
But it's not always the most expensive chalet that gives the best experience.
Hmm.
It might be the most glamorous,
Yeah.
Instagrammable, or whatever, but it lacks that character, it lacks that soul.
Yeah.
Most of our properties, and we only list a very few on our platforms, but we the ones that are kind of old farmhouses
Yeah.
that they've kept that soul.
Yeah.
A lot of the chalets here obviously made out of wood, the old wood. You can feel it when you walk in. And whereas a lot of the buildings, it might be international investors coming over, they'll find a property, they'll knock it down and put a modern contemporary house in it, or just strip it and then fill it with all these gadgets, and it loses its. Everything has a feeling, right? So it loses its soul. And I think that if you're working with an owner that really cares, again you feel it from a staff member. Every staff member that comes to work for us, like myself and wife, we're hands on all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas I had a short 5 month consultancy just to help a chalet through a kind of transition period. One of the top chalets in the air, if not the Alps. And I think I can see the opportunity it has,
Mhm.
but whether that is whether that will go ahead, I don't know. That there's sticking points from the understanding. So the owner doesn't live here; he's abroad, but the team on the ground doesn't quite get where what they need to be doing, and it's so important that it comes back down to training. For us, the hardest thing. This is why we can't be doing this um, day in day out all over the world. We would dilute ourselves very very quickly, and we wouldn't be able to give that time
Mhm.
to each guest. So yeah, it's so important to be able to filter down from the top all the way down to whether it's the housekeeping team
Yeah.
or the maintenance, the gardening. It's got to be across the board understood what you're trying to achieve. And a lot of especially in the the private rental industry, homes seem to just enter the market with no kind of purpose.
Mhm.
And I think what we see a lot is a missed opportunity where it's a beautiful home, but if they'd just took their foot off the gas a little bit and not been listed on every platform, they had an opportunity to be a little bit more discreet, raise the
Mhm.
profile, become a little bit more exclusive, and
Mhm.
just create a little bit more of a soul and build that kind of story.
Yeah.
You know.
I love that. Um, in your career, was there a moment where you really had a realization, this is what I want to do and I want to build this on my own?
um, Probably in America, the second hotel I worked in, I was the maitre d', I think, was sick, and so I had to cover him for 3 or 4 days. And I was it's kind of my first opportunity of running a shift, and I was a hotel trainee, right? So management trainee kind of thing. So but I kind of put my big boots on, and it was a time when my mum and stepfather came out to visit me for a week or so, and I did this shift, and I went into the bar, and they were chatting to this couple. I think they're from New York, and I'd finished my shift, and how is everything? And my mum said, "Oh, there's a card for you there." It was the gentleman's business card, and they invited me to go and work for them in I think it's Bahamas or Barbados or one of those
Yeah.
islands. And I felt like I hadn't really. I knew that couple. I'd spent a bit of time with them because I was the maitre d'. I didn't have all the time in the world. Like when my first job was busboy, so I'd fill up all the waters and things like that. And I felt I had more time, but when I had more responsibility, I had less time for each guest and things like that. I'm really kind of making sure the chefs was okay and every waitress. Um, but then that kind of stuck in my head, like, well, if I've made a, or if the team that I was with has made an impact on them, and this is something that I could really do, and it could take you around the world. I don't know where that business card is now, but that's probably like one of my first moments of me really taking responsibility as a trainee and getting some proper feedback from a guest.
Yeah.
But yeah, because my parents, my mum and stepfather were there, it kind of sticks in my head, and we laugh about it a
Yeah.
little bit now.
Well, you'll have to find that business card and say, what can we
Yeah,
do for
so
you
when we
now?
moved actually house about 3 4 years ago, it popped. So I don't know where it is now, but yeah, it's and that's the beauty of hospitality, though. It can take you all over,
Yeah, you
and
just never know.
I've been very fortunate. That at times things have happened, but you can't do everything.
Yeah. You shared just briefly before about how some of the, maybe not the most expensive or new home, sometimes the older ones with more soul, those can create the most or the better experience or the more memorable experience. Are there any other things that really separate a beautiful property from one that actually delivers a memorable stay?
Um, I think the little details, the little touches, and this can come from the owner of the
Yeah.
property, but also from our standpoint as from within our service. For example, the way we do turn down
Yeah.
and things like that. So it's little details, it's little touches.
Yeah.
Whether that's the attention to detail of cleanliness or housekeeping, or a little bedside note um, before, within your turn down kind of service scenarios. So that's what I would or I've introduced into. So we always see every house as a blank canvas, and some don't even work. It might
Hmm.
be a beautiful property, and we have to say that it's not going to work, and that could be
Yeah.
if a house is going to offer itself for breakfast, lunch, someone to stay there, and they want breakfast, lunch, dinner, the family, and it sleeps say 12 to 16 guests, but there's only one dishwasher in the kitchen. It's not going
Mm.
to work. If
Yeah.
five beautiful suites, but then two or three bedrooms aren't the same quality, it's not going to work. There's got to be kind of a line drawn. But yeah, the for us, it's the little details and the personal touches, in terms of phrases within hotel world, that kind of customer journey
Yeah.
and those little hidden touch points throughout. And sometimes you go to a property and you're like, blimey, that the owner's already done half the job for us. We don't need to do anything. And that's where I think if you've got a beautiful home and it's full of character and soul, and most of our
Mm.
homes, a lot of them, they're not lived in. They've kind of been turned into homes that really feel like a home,
Yeah.
but they're just there for the rental market, and they feel a little bit more special. There's a few homes that the owners still come back and have their holidays and
Yeah.
things like that, but they just feel a little bit more lived in. Whereas if you can take a property and the owner says it's yours, this is where we've
Hmm.
got it to, and then you can just add that little sprinkling of touch points onto it, then it just raises it. And any agent in the world can do that. They're
Yeah.
like we don't do anything crazy out to the ordinary. It's just little things that I've picked up or developed over 20 odd years that I would like to receive that. So I'm gonna do it, and we trial and error. And if it's a family with children, then we're gonna make sure that the kids have bikes. Like we have a lot of Americans that come over, so we get to know the age of the kids. Or if they've travelled with us before, we know what toys they like, and it's all there. And if there's no playroom in the house, we create a playroom and things like
Yeah.
that. So it's little details, making it easy for the parents if they are traveling with families, so they don't have to think, so they don't have to
Yeah.
bring everything with them. You say that's here, that's here. Like, the back, if you're
Yeah.
going to go hiking, we've got backpack for the kid. They're bulky. You don't want to be bringing
Yeah.
that. And so it's all those little things that kind of don't cost a lot, but
Yeah.
can save a lot of time or a lot of headache for someone, or make someone feel special.
Yeah. Well, and I think they compound. Maybe just a note at turn down wouldn't seem that significant, but when you put it all together with all of the little touch points throughout the whole journey, I think then it does feel very significant. And it's the you're taking away the stress, the pressure, the overthinking, the big packing list from the guest, and
Yeah,
creating just this really seamless, let's just go and enjoy and not have to think about all of the other parts of planning, which I think
exactly.
that's what people love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
taking away and making it as easy as possible. But for us ourselves, we're trying to make it as simple for ourselves as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
it's we want to be proactive in our approach, and we've done it a long time, and you live and learn, right? We
Yeah.
haven't always had it perfect, and we still sometimes think, after say we could have just done that a little bit better, or we should have asked that question. But you don't want to get in a scenario where guests arrive, they've come off a long flight, or especially if it's America, they're doing multiple flights with little
Yeah.
ones, and then you're running around trying to get this, that, and that for them. So, but once you've
Yeah.
done it wrong, it's rinse and repeat. It's
Yeah.
then getting to know the family and how they work, because every family might need a buggy, or a backpack, or if a lot of these properties don't have cutlery or cut plastic cups for little
Right.
ones and things like
Yeah.
that. Um, it's easy when you've got kids, you know what to to kind of look for. But yeah, make it as simple and easy as you can, and try and try and think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah. Are there things over the course of, since 2008, since you guys have been doing this, are there things that stand out to you that you recognize guests really care about or really notice, and then things maybe that they don't?
Most people are just happy to get here. Like
Yeah.
everyone wants to go on a holiday. They're just plonk my bags down and like
Yeah.
show me a deck chair. But I I don't think there's anything like you never know what someone's going to ask for
Yeah.
or what's important to someone. So I don't think there's
Hmm.
anything which someone said or requested when I've gone, oh, you're not going to need that because they really might need that. There's one in the last week, someone coming here in Chamonix, she needed to know where she can buy oxygen tanks. She suffers in high altitude
Altitude.
places. The first one with it, like, it's never come across that.
Yeah.
They're going to need that, and we're relatively low level here, but for her she needed it. So then, okay, we're researching where are we going to get this oxygen for this lady.
Yeah.
um but I think going back to keeping things simple and the basics of hospitality is in the properties, little things like coat hangers in wardrobes,
Yeah.
somewhere to put the case, the
Yeah.
suitcase. It could be scents or diffusers in rooms or homes, like little details that people won't notice straight away. But if someone checks in,
Subconsciously.
yeah, exactly. And if someone checks in, um, and they open a wardrobe and there's not enough, hangers for their stay, and then there's nowhere to put the suitcase really. So that's what goes back to like, does every home really lend itself to a certain type of stay? And these little things, if there's enough coat hangers, there's somewhere to put the suitcase, or the staff member comes and takes that away for them,
Yeah.
or brushes the snow off their shoes. Most people here, they have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. They'll come in, take the skis, the boots. That we have a staff member that once they do that, they go in the boot room, they dry it all properly, they put it on the boot warmers, they make sure it's all together for the next day.
Yeah.
All the kids have, their gloves are together. They don't
Yeah.
notice it, but then the next day they can just go skiing. They're not running around with it. So I think it's the little basics that always make sure are being done,
Yeah.
and the guests have that as much time as they can together, and they've always got somewhere to hang their dresses in the wardrobe and things like this.
Yeah. Well, that leads me perfect to the next question. I was going to ask, aside from coat hangers and luggage racks, are there any other non-negotiables that you and your team bring into every home that, you just know, no, 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 we have to have this. Like, this is our benchmark, the line drawn. This is what every property that we manage has to have.
Yeah, it's cleanliness, housekeeping. We
Hmm.
don't, or a lot of the properties, the homes have their own housekeeping team, um, which is great for us because they know how to run the house, especially if
Yeah.
it's a new property that we're interested in working with or the owner wants us to kind of take on. We just bolt the added extras onto that. So we kind of bolt that extra 10-20% on. Cleanliness, that there's not that's non-negotiable. If that's not quite understood or right, then we're really gonna struggle there. The layout of the house, which I've mentioned, there kind of still needs to be a bit of a back area for staff. Kitchen wise, obviously, I've mentioned about the dishwashers that every
Yeah.
house really needs to have two dishwashers to make it easy on the chef or the staff. Somewhere they can put their kind of boxes where groceries get delivered. A lot of these places we work are in the country, especially in places like Scotland, Tuscany, in the like the veg guy or the fish guy will come in the early in the morning and just drop the box of fish outside. Um, yeah, making sure that a house can just work.
Yeah.
You can get around things. Obviously, I'm kind of taking it to the extreme. for kind of vegetables getting delivered in the morning. But there's got to be areas that the kind of the staff, the staff can be and away from the guests. Um, and it's like working in any hotel. It's really got to flow. And then
Yeah.
the basics in terms of, does that owner really care? Because and does his staff, so we talked about staff earlier, of a team, and how that filters down. Is there a gardener on site, maintenance? If there's going to be an issue, what is the kind of the protocol for making sure that that's going to be fixed
Yeah.
there and then? We don't want to
Yeah.
be waiting.
Yeah.
So we're selling a hotel environment and experience, but in a relaxed and very personal environment. But we still need to make sure that if there's a leak, or if something happens, there's a gale and something is tree blown over in the garden, we need to make sure that's so. A lot of it is kind of boring and logistics in the background, but again, it filters down from the relationship you have with that owner.
Yeah.
And trust. An owner has,
Yeah.
it takes a few stays for the owner to kind of see
How you
how
work
you
and
um how you work. And yeah, there's that trust that's got to be built over time. And likewise, you've got to be able to see, there's a beautiful property in Tuscany you work with. They have a gardener. He's lovely. He'll bring in like fresh cherry tomatoes every day for the chefs, and he's so helpful. And
yeah.
but he sets that environment. So it, properties, it's not how expensive or how the chandelier looks or anything like that. A lot of it is down to the people and the character of a
Yeah.
property that really just makes it work. And then you don't need to add too many
Too
things.
much.
It's no,
Yeah.
exactly.
Uh, Are there things that you see in the industry right now, almost like gaps in the market, gaps in luxury hospitality that you've identified and are solving with Hidden and Found?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially over the last 3 or 4 years, I've seen the between agents selling,
Mm-hmm.
um, or marketing, things, that a product which doesn't quite ring true what happens on the ground. And I think it comes down to an understanding. I think it's the easiest industry to get into at the moment.
Yeah.
Travel, it's booming. Private rentals is booming. The easiest thing, can just get a website, put a load of homes on it. It's not going to take you long, and then just regurgitate what everyone's saying online and all these platforms. There's a lack of knowledge that really, there's a big difference to selling hotels and selling private stays.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these agents and people, they're misdirecting clients and customers. And over the years, we've won a lot of, I don't mind saying
Yeah.
it, because we're the ones that kind of had to correct things. But people have sent as clients, and you get the family of wanting to know what's happening to that agent. That agent has kind of disappeared. Um, and they've promised ABC, not delivering on it, and they soon work out that's actually us on the ground that's kind of fixing everything. So I think there's a
Yeah.
big gap between what people are selling. I have a bit of a pet hate about it, and I don't say or do much on LinkedIn. But every time I go on there, it's for the last few years, it seems to be this narrative, people saying what people want, and I'm like, well, they've been wanting that for 15, 20 years, for as long as I've known. That's
Yeah.
nothing new.
Yeah.
And I think there's a big gap there. I think we're a little bit behind, um, what publicists are putting out there. I
Mm-hmm.
guess I've wanted, for forever. So that, I think a bit more knowledge there. Yeah, I think, it could be
Yeah.
improved.
And is that, do you think that's because a lot of these agents, maybe they don't have the real guest interaction or like seeing a guest through a stay at a hotel? So they're not fully understanding that guest journey versus where you are so involved with the guest from all of the back end logistics, you really have a strong understanding of, no, this is what they ask for. This is what, we know they need these things. And kind of seeing those trends evolve maybe at a quicker or more real time than someone who's not as involved with every aspect of the stay.
Yeah, I think a lot of I think it's got gradually a little bit um, worse in terms of, I mean, people, it's booming, right? This type of industry is booming.
Yeah.
People are wanting villas and chalets and
Yeah.
all over the world. And so I think a lot of the larger brokers and agents, they're just getting busy and busy and busier. They want to
Yeah.
palm them off to you.
Yeah.
So
Got
we'll
it.
get an inquiry and we're like, we need, this is only 30% of the information we need. It doesn't matter whether it's a 20,000 euro budget a week or a 200,000 budget a week. We still need to know a budget because we're not going to pick up the phone or email Bill to see if his villa's available. We're not going to disturb him. He's busy.
Yeah.
So it's the details that we're getting from partners or
Yeah.
agents. So we've really cut down on who we're using that and how we're changing. But I do think a lot of it is so they're getting busier. They're hiring staff. Those staff probably aren't from the world of hospitality or worked in hotels or come from worked on villas or yachts. So it's just a lack of understanding. I don't think it's
Yeah.
deliberate. I just think
Yeah.
it's look, we've got to sell this villa, and it's
Let's
great
sell
because
it and we'll worry about the logistics later. With this rise in people really wanting to look for chalets and villas and almost these more intimate, smaller scale experiences, is there anything you've noticed that's really driving that? Is it wanting just more closeness or being, having common areas where they can gather where you kind of don't get that in a hotel unless it's like the lobby or something like that?
I think the world's just got so busy.
Yeah.
I really, I think I was lucky in America. I was working in independent hotels that were, there weren't these big chains with hundreds of bedrooms. Oh, they were the biggest hotel I worked in was like 52 rooms, I think, and lots of condos
Yeah.
around it. But I think time, like you look at these people that come with their family and closest friends. We also have our in-house kind of, we operate like a hotel, so we have our own kind of catering and culinary and
Hmm.
events company. So we do like a lot of elopements.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it could just be 12, 15 people.
Yeah.
And they might come over and from America to Europe and rent a beautiful place in Italy or France,
Yeah.
but then go back to United States and have a big party. But
Mm.
that the actual thing that mattered was just with their family and friends, and that took off like after COVID. I mean, people are restricted; they had to have up to what was it, maximum 30, 35
Yeah.
people after COVID, like in terms of a gathering. So I think that
Hmm.
really helped people see actually that was really special. Our wedding,
Yeah.
I got married, myself and Katie in 2017, because we were in the hospitality and the events world.
Yeah.
We didn't want it to feel like a wedding, so we had 30 people at the top of a mountain in Austria, away from
Amazing.
everyone. So, but then back in the hotels, the rooms that I sold really well were the rooms away from the main hotel. People
Hmm.
wanted that little cottage in the forest,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't the best suite
Right.
or the most expensive. So for me, my position has always been people are wanting that privacy, that time,
Hmm.
that connection, and also
Yeah.
well-being. Like that
Yeah.
that's it. And that's what everyone's talking about now. It's not changed. It's just more readily available
Yeah.
now. We've just been fortunate that my journey has always kind of been around those touch points. So fortunate,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think you're right, it is more readily available, and I don't think that I think people are still catching up that that's even an option. They don't have to just book the hotel where everyone goes that's in the main part of town. They can have this really authentic, almost local experience that still has all of the benefits of a hotel. Because I think especially when you have little ones or you're traveling with a lot of different people, the amenities that a hotel bring are amazing. So to have that plus your own space, privacy that feels very local and true to the destination, it why wouldn't you? It's the best of both worlds.
Exactly, and I think that like, we're useless on social media. It's embarrassing. We just don't really touch it. We've got to address it this year, but we've been very fortunate that word of mouth and the little niche we have has just worked. But
Yeah.
social media, that's where social media has been great for the industry because it's it's shown what else is out there. And it's so
Yeah.
hard to be at the top of Google these days
Yeah.
for your website. Social media, it can transform your business. Yeah, these properties, I mean, there's some, you can't even find them on the internet. They're completely
Yeah.
hidden off market. They will rival any 5, 6 star hotel in the world,
Yeah.
and it's a level above because you've got the star for to yourself. It's not
Right.
diluted amongst 20, 30 other bedrooms,
Mm-hmm.
100 odd people. You've got the facilities of a hotel with a dedicated team, and no boundaries.
Right.
Even check-in, check-out time, we're so relaxed about it. If someone
Yeah.
really wants to stay till 12 o'clock and we've got another group arriving at, we say, the earliest was like 2, 3 o'clock, we'll just triple the housekeeping
Yeah.
to make it,
Make
for
it
the sake of
work.
a few hundred euros or pounds, depending where their house is. If they really need to, if their flight's later and they really, we're not going to kick them out
Mm-hmm.
at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, the beauty of private rentals is it's completely designed and can be and should be designed around the guest. It's still quite robotic. Checkout is at 10. We've got
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't cost much for an owner to put an extra, delay that, allow an early check-in, just put in a
Yeah.
few extra staff, and if people
Yeah.
will recognize that and they'll be very 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 thankful for it.
Well, and it's not if it the small cost of what that would be for the owner, I think far outweighs the guest experience because how amazing to start your trip with a little bit of an earlier check-in without having to be confined so strictly to that time. And then also on the other hand, if you do need a little bit of a late checkout, you're ending on such a great note. That experience is just bookend without any complication, smooth. It's it reminds me when I was working in house, we were told never to say no. Find some other thing to say, but never say no. Find some other
Yeah.
solution. And so it's kind of like that, but just to the next level of really making it exceptional.
Yeah, if you can say yes or absolutely to a guest requirement, then yeah, that like that. The easiest thing is to allow a guest to check in early and they're already arriving in a good mood.
Hmm. Yeah.
And if you can extend that great experience over the course of a 2 night stay, 3 night stay, 2 week
Yeah.
stay,
Yeah.
and when they know someone else is going to check in, and you say, "Look, no, there's no rush, but you do have to leave at some point, but you can leave at midday." Um, you want to eliminate like the boundaries. That's how I
Hmm.
see it. Like check in 4 o'clock, check out, like bend that. There's
Yeah.
always ways you can do
Make
stuff.
it
So
work.
yeah, it's a big part that what everyone is able to do, hotels and
Yeah.
rentals.
Yeah. We touched just a little bit on social media and kind of the power that can bring in a world where we're seeing more and more AI and just more automation. Is there something that you think guests are looking for but can't find, and that's why you've had success with hidden and found? That you know, even though, as you said, these search results are maybe bringing up bigger and hotel brands that can really pay for that number one spot on Google, but they're actually what they're craving is something that is a little bit more hidden and kind of off the beaten path.
Yeah. Um, a lot of, and it's usually Kate and my wife who has more of these conversations with the guests. I'm not always with them, but
Yeah.
a lot of the guests just want to talk. They want
Yeah.
time. They want to um, not see their phone,
Yeah.
and a lot of them will take off their smartwatches.
Yeah.
So they'll they don't want to be notified
Right.
of it. So that a lot of the things they'll come in, their smartwatch will be in their bedroom, for the whole day. But a lot of these people, most of our clients, I've said like 80% are American. New York, we have a huge collection of people from Texas.
Okay.
That's been great for us. Um, California, and they're traveling, over 20 hours to come to Europe, and often for 4, 6, 8 weeks at a time. I love that. It's just so good to be here. They just want time away from. And again, I don't think that's always been. That's nothing new. But if you can just let people be, remove those boundaries, remove those kind of strict check-in, check-out times, put all those little touch points in place, make sure the basics are there from a hospitality standpoint, and then make sure that team really understands what you're trying to deliver and what this family are looking for. So we get to know a lot before someone travels with us. Who's traveling? How old are the children? Where have you been?
Yeah.
What type of holidays do you like? Don't you like? So
Yeah.
you really build that relationship before they get here, and we have countless phone calls and things like that. But when they arrive, they just want to simply be, and you go at their pace, and that's the other beauty of hotels, and
Yeah.
the difference between what we do and hotels. Hotels, okay, the restaurants at this time,
Yeah.
everything revolves around time. Last orders at this, fine. There's
Right.
independent hotels like some beautiful ones we go to in Italy where you can be there till 2 in the morning. The chef will come out and drink with you. There's no kitchen closes at, for
Mhm.
example, in a house.
Yeah.
And I think letting people feel that they're home away from home
Yeah.
is super important, and just letting them be. And that's the hidden and found part. That's where we want people to feel found and discover
Yeah.
what was probably hidden in their life. So
Yeah.
it's not so much here's a hidden home that we've discovered or found. It's very much it's the personal. It's the opposite of that. So yeah, we've always worked on guest well-being, and let them just be and have the time, and we will make that extra time for them if need be, if it is extra checkout time.
Yeah. It's so interesting how we've seen this rise in connection as a trend. And we're seeing that even with we had a guest on who's working on a new really big property in Florida, and they're seeing the same pattern, that that's really what guests are wanting. So as they're doing this new build, they're building rooms that can accommodate much larger groups, so as you said, with double dishwashers, even double refrigerators, because people just want that togetherness, that connection. And I think that it's great that people are kind of coming back to that, especially after an era of COVID where there was not enough of that. Stays that I think that also is contributing to why people are having such this realization that staying in places like the homes that you guys manage and have available are really how to have that connection. That's the best place for that.
Yeah, and
You
making
know.
it easy for you. Like,
Mhm.
not every property, and we in the last 2 years we've been gone into more self-catered.
Yeah.
It doesn't outweigh our catered or fully staffed, but we've
Yeah.
just it was silly for us not to take it on.
Yeah.
And not everyone wants a week in a property in Tuscany, a week in a property in Provence. I might just do 2, 3 days here and there.
Yeah.
I was going to say that if you can make it easy, but also come from an owner or a hotel, you've got to be generous in what you're offering.
Yeah.
Generosity is huge. So when we're going
Yeah.
into a new villa, new chalet, if we're there at the architect stage or we've been brought in a bit later, um, it's one of the first words I use. You've got to be generous,
Yeah.
because it will subconsciously, guests will need it at some point, or they'll
Mhm.
pick up on it. If you kind of holding things back or not being as generous, um, then that will kind of be felt throughout a guest journey.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things is people want time, and they also want space. So houses which it might be a family, very close family of 8, 10, 12 people, but the teenagers might want a little snook area that they can do their own thing.
Yeah.
The mother might want a little corner because she loves to read a book under the
Yeah.
shade of a tree. The father might still need to do some work, so a desk area
Yeah.
and things like that. All these little details, like if you're kind of going into the rental market, or even hotels, spaces that can be designed for different groups of people,
People. Yeah.
that they can just have their moment
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah. Just to wrap it up, is there a stay that you have personally experienced that really just blew you away, that was exceptional, and maybe even gave you some ideas of things that you wanted to implement?
There's Katie and I went to Bali in probably 12 years ago. And we used to work non-stop until October time, and then we would have like a bit of a downtime until like the New Year, spike Christmas, New Year. But so we used to go away as far as possible, and we went to Bali and try to avoid like the tourist traps.
Yeah.
And I came across this. We did the islands, and then we went back onto the mainland. And I said like the islands were beautiful, but still too many people. And I was researching on the internet, and this was before kind of everything kicked off on Instagram and all that. And
Yeah.
Kate, I don't know where I got it from. Found this place up the paddy fields, and it's a place still goes now, and it's called Sanak, Sanak. Um, haven't been back since, but the it was it's a French owner who bought this land and said, "I'll take it for 20 years. All the staff will be from the local village. Everything we produce in the kitchen will be from the local village or the local area." I think like 80 to 90% on their menu is what they grow themselves. 90 odd percent is from the village, and you just felt it. So
Yeah.
you're in these beautiful kind of little simple little villas, and you open the curtain in the morning. There's a little woman tending to the paddy fields, sweeping your deck. Just the way they did everything, you just felt it was genuine. And these people had never come from hospitality; they were just being trained. And after 20 years, this guy is going to give it to the village for saying
Wow.
thank you, and it's still going. Haven't been back since, so I don't know exactly what it's like now, but it's still is the most amazing tomato soup that they served me. I don't know why I wanted soup; it was so hot, but it is, and yeah, just everything they did was genuine. And it goes like they gave you the time, but they knew they didn't know anything else. They hadn't come
Right.
from a hospitality background, a hotel where we have to work like this. They were just themselves. So that is one that Katie and I always go back to. Most beautiful place in the mountains, surrounded by kind of genuine, warm, caring people. Um, and yeah, there was, I don't know, 10, 12 little villas around this paddy field and infinity pool that just looks into these forests. And so
Amazing.
that was a special moment. And yeah, maybe, yeah, that would probably be up there for sure.
Yeah, I think it really just does all come back to the care and the genuine desire, I think, to want to give people a great experience. And my team and I talk all the time about how, one of the reasons we all love this industry is because we are part of those memories for people, not necessarily us ourselves, but the experiences that we're helping create. Those are some, I mean, those stay with you for a lifetime. They're things that you remember forever, whether it is an elopement or a family gathering with grandparents or a first time somewhere with kids. It's just so special to be part of it. And it's so amazing that you and your team are able to create those experiences on such a high level. I'm sure these are oftentimes once in a lifetime experiences for people that then they're like, oh my gosh, wait, we can do this again and again and again. We're never going to a hotel again.
That is true. We one of our very, very good clients. I work privately a little bit,
Yeah.
still do for people. So still privileged. I can't leave it alone. I have too much fun with it. But so I get invited here and there, and a phone call or email came like 4 or 5 years ago, and there was an partner we work with in America that got in touch and said, "Can you look after this? They're doing a 9 week trip." 3 weeks of Ibiza, 3 weeks Tuscany. We want you to kind of look after in the mountains. And I said to Kate, I said, I want to do this myself. There's something about it that I just will do.
Yeah.
And so I personally looked after them 3 weeks, and they've been back every year since.
Yeah.
We the first place they looked at, we it wasn't one of ours. But then they said, like, "Do you have anything?" So then we introduced them to another place, and this will be the third summer back in this new place.
Wow.
And they've just yeah, they're from Houston,
Yeah.
and they've fallen in love with just the everything about the house, the setting.
Yeah.
When I first met them, little Sam was 6, 8, 9 months old. He's now going to be what 3, 4.
Yeah.
So you grow up, and I've got so many. I've been with some families 15 years.
Wow.
So you are part of their family, and that's
Yeah.
like anyone who listens to this, that the thing about going in hospitality, it's bloody hard work, but it can take you all over the world. But you meet people from
Yeah.
all over the world. They
Yeah.
literally will come to you,
Yeah.
and it's about getting to know them, creating something. And every year, going back to this family, where we have to kind of give them new experiences.
Yeah.
I'm going tomorrow. I've got to go to Italy for 2 days, and part of that is and trying to see if we can offer that as a new experience to this family. They're here for 4 weeks. Like you've got 28 days of
Right.
with them every day, and give them new experiences. That this will be the fourth year here, and that's that's what's exciting, but also challenging. And again, at a hotel, there's only so many things you can do. You're
Right.
confined and you're sharing everything. Whereas the beauty of what we do, we can say, look, you're here for 4 weeks. Why don't you have 2 nights here? So we also work with independent hotels that we feel can add a little dimension to it. But yeah, I'd say 80% is private homes, and then 20%
Yeah.
boutique kind of independent hotels. And yeah, it's an amazing industry, and having fun with it at the moment.
It's amazing. Well, and just that I think it's what's so great is you've been able to identify what really guests are looking for, and you have such a, really strong read on what people are asking for, what they want, what they like, and then creating these new experiences for them is amazing. I think I'm sure on your side too, there's almost probably never 2 days that are the same. So it keeps it exciting and also part of the challenge.
Yeah, well, especially here, a lot of the time you've got to go with what the weather is saying.
That's
Um,
true.
so yeah, we had a 10-day period of and 3 meters of snow in February. So that halted a lot of people's plans. But
Yeah.
hospitality, it's about fun and
Yeah.
people and care. So yeah, it's good to test yourself, and the staff like to come up with
Get
new ideas
creative.
and things like that. And guests will they challenge you. They say, look, you want to do this year, Ed, and what can you and your team offer?
Yeah.
Um, so you never know what's going to come through, and that keeps it exciting.
Yeah. Oh, well, Edward, thank you so much for being on with us today and just
You're
sharing
welcome.
these valuable insights. It was so great. And I think our listeners are going to have a lot of fun hearing just really current and real time trends of what people are expecting from a luxury experience. And if guests want to find you or learn more about Hidden and Found, where can they do that?
So our website is www.hiddenandfound.com, and I'm also on LinkedIn. But yeah, if you go to our website, you can contact us there, and yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Amazing. Well, thank you again so much. And if you want to check out more episodes of Foundry Talks, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.